and scenes in this movie that really enhance kind of the emotional resonance of what comes later in the movie, which I really love. And yeah, like I said, this is very much an art film. I mean, the way I define an art film is that if you're not going into it trying to analyze it on some level or trying to look beneath the surface of just the plot, it's going to be just a total waste of time, and the movie will seem kind of incomprehensible and pointless to you. And with The American, you have to go in knowing what you're going to get into. This is not an action film. This is not a thriller. This is not a movie that can even be enjoyed if you're not trying to think about it and look at it as a character piece on George Clooney. But if you are, then I think this is a fantastic freaking movie, and George Clooney gives an excellent performance. I think the problem with this film, though, is the ending, and that is where Le Samurai totally kicks the crap out of this film. I thought as much as there was a lot of great build-up in The American, the ending kind of took away from everything it was, kind of climbing towards. However, that bad ending really doesn't take away everything I do adore about this movie, and it's really cool to see that directors are actually attempting to make modern-day art films, and I think this is one that really succeeds. Ryan, you've not seen this movie yet, and I know you will soon, but I think this is a film that you're really going to appreciate, because you've seen art films, you can appreciate art films for being art films, and, this is an art film, so I think you'll really enjoy it just for that. And yeah, I kind of love this movie. If I had to rate it out of 10, I'd give it a 9. As much as I dislike the ending, just the rest of the film really, makes this a very, very interesting experience for me. And yeah, it is a very subtle visual character piece on George Clooney. So don't go into it expecting anything other than, that. Yeah, that's The American, directed by Anton Corbijn.
Hooray!
Yay.
Okay. So that is the end of what we've been watching and stuff like that. And now we're going to move on to our in-depth review of the new Robert Rodriguez movie, Machete.
Yeah. Okay. This is Robert Rodriguez's newest film. And like Hobo with the Shotgun, the trailer for which we discussed previously in this podcast, Machete is a film that began as a fake exploitation trailer in the Rodriguez-Tarantino kind of, concept film Grindhouse. And people loved the trailer so much. Actually, the trailer for me was the best part of Grindhouse. That Robert Rodriguez is like, you know what? I'm going to turn this into a movie. And so he did. And now the movie is out, and it can be seen in theaters everywhere. And it stars, I think one of the best casts just ever. Okay, wait, let me just get up the list of names here.
Danny Trejo, Cheech Marin, Jessica Alba, Michelle Rodriguez, Lindsay Lohan, Steven Seagal, and this independent kind of indie actor. His name is Robert De Niro. You might have heard of him.
Yeah, and also this movie has freaking Daryl Sabera, who I didn't even know was in this movie until the opening credits, and it's got Don Johnson, which is amazing. I mean, it's freaking Don Johnson in a movie, and it's got Frank Lapidus from Lost, who I think had the best performance in this film, and it's got freaking Tom Savini. I mean, this movie, just like Robert Rodriguez called in every single favor he has left in Hollywood and made assembled one of the best casts ever. So with this amazing cast, the question is this an amazing movie that lives up to the promise its cast gives off? Ryan, I will let you answer the question I just, put forth.
Yes and no. In a short answer, yes. In a long answer, not really. I mean, this is a movie that is kind of divided in half. Half of it being trying to be like a completely campy, over-the-top, ridiculous gore fest, which you would expect, since it's based on the Machete trailer, which is freaking crazy. But then the other thing of it is that it tries to tie its plot into a political message about illegal immigration. Because, the main antagonist of this movie, Robert De Niro, or at least one of the antagonists of this movie, is really, really hardcore against illegal immigration. He's displayed early in the movie as actually killing, illegal immigrants with, a sniper rifle. I mean, not illegal immigrants, illegal immigrants. Sorry. And so he's kind of the main antagonist in this movie, and Rodriguez tries to use this to try and bring in, this point about, let them... The message is, really incoherent. I can't even really tell what he's trying to say. I think he's basically trying to say, treat the immigrants nicely, or it'll blow up in your face and will revolt against you with like an army of Mexicans. Like I seriously have no idea what he was trying to say.
Yeah, it's a very simple message told in a just very overcomplicated way, which I didn't really like.
Yeah.
But Ryan, like, just overall, your thoughts on the film, kind of.
Okay, overall, my thoughts on the movie. I think that serving as an action movie, this movie mostly delivers. I mean, there are a ton of like moments in this movie that are just like so just crazy and gory and bloody. Like you will be telling your friends about it, like that, and they will probably like come to be the most memorable moments of this movie. Like it's just whenever this movie is like in action, like whenever this movie has an action sequence, it is pretty much pure cinematic bliss. However, when it is
are tough and every penny counts.
Sorry. Pop-up ad. I apologize.
Okay. However, when it is not like in the midst of crazy grindhouse style action, it's kind of a mess. Like it doesn't really know if it wants to like have a really deep, intricate plot that we care for, or if it really just wants to be this schlocky grindhouse movie where we don't really care about anything that happens. So overall, I really enjoyed this movie, although I definitely like it doesn't really know what it wants to be, and that brings the movie down a pretty significant deal for me. Like I don't know, what are your thoughts on this? Like,
okay, well, I like this movie. It's good. It's a lot of fun. I'd agree with you. It works mostly as an action film, but it's like a very unfocused movie. I mean, I wish he had gone one of two ways with this film. He should have either gone with kind of a total satire of politics and kind of the politics of immigration, and done a movie based entirely on that. Well, it's just a complete political satire on that, with spicing it up with some action. Or he could have made a very straightforward revenge mexploitation film, and he tried to do both of those, and it just really didn't work at all. This movie just needed to be focused, and just because it was kind of a mess. At the times, it wasn't like totally awesome with its gore and action and shiz. It was kind of boring, dare I say. However, there's still a ton to like about this film. All the action is great. All the performances is great. Are great. God, all the performances is great. I'm stupid. But and I think actually my personal favorite performance in this film. We'll get into this a little later. But I think the best actor in this movie, who really gave the most fun performance, was actually Jeff Fahey, who plays Frank Lapidus on Lost, and he's like one of the big bad guys in this movie, and just the voice he uses the entire film, it's so gravelly and rough, and some of his dialogue is just so perfect, and he's just, I thought, he pulled off that really sinister kind of mustache-twirling villain really well, and I absolutely loved him in the film. However, even with those great performances and this great action, this movie's pacing is quite muddled. This movie's subtext is, like Ryan said, very muddled, and this film's just kind of overall, focus on, something it's trying to be is very, very muddled. So I do really like this film. I think it's definitely worth seeing if you're a Robert Rodriguez fan or a fan of really any of the actors in this film, because they all do get plenty of cool screen time. This movie is
not Lindsay Lohan. Like,
yeah, that is the one
problem.
problem.
Take his shirt off and then like shoot dudes.
Yeah, I mean, like, Lindsay Lohan is the one person in this film who's kind of pointless. Like, if you're gonna have her in there to be naked, just go all the way with it, and don't kind of, have, like, a few second-long scenes. And that's kind of one of the things that pissed me off. Like, they could have gone, like, they could have brought in this Lindsay Lohan character just to be naked in the film, and just gone really, corny and exploitation with it. But they decided not to do that, so that's something that just kind of puzzles me. I mean, this movie is just kind of interesting as a failure, and, well, not a failure, but I think a failure on just being something consistent. So yeah, I enjoy the film. I think it's a lot of fun, and Robert Rodriguez is a cool dude who's, like, knows how to make movies for, like, $2. However, I think this movie is, like Ryan said, a mess, and therefore it's not great. But it is good.
Yeah. So overall, Ivan and I, we recommend Machete. I mean, if you can do your best to overlook all of, like, the political subtext crap, you'll have a lot of fun with this movie. And that's pretty much all that can be said for it. I mean, this is not really a movie that can be discussed all that much. It's because it just speaks so plainly